Men of Reddit, what are some things a mom should know while raising a boy? If you tease him about personal relationships at a young age, he'll never trust you enough to talk about deep personal matters. Another is, don't share stuff your kid told you in private with your friends. Especially not during dinner, when the kid can potentially hear it. It's a breach of trust that never recovers. I only told my mom about a crush once. When I was 8. I told her, and a few days later, all 7 uncles and 10 cousins of mine were teasing me about her. I swear to God, I was so close to losing my shit. Don't tease your sons about any female friends. It usually leads to issues with them being unable to talk to you about things when they actually do like someone. This is one of the most important pieces of advice out there. My mom thinks every female friend I've ever had is a crush, when that's simply not the case. As such, I can't talk to her about female friends anymore. Remember going on a camping trip with several friends, both boys and girls. I had my camping gear at my front door and was getting a couple last minute things. Friends show up, one of the girl just starts loading my stuff in the car. My grandmother says to me she's cute, why don't you date her? She's a friend. B, she'd never date me. C, we don't have a lot in common. Etc etc etc. Yeah, I remember. If you knock on his door and he says give me a minute, give him a minute. Don't just walk in. My dad always knocks and he immediately opens the door. If it's early in the morning, he'll just walk in assuming I'm still asleep. I told him it's his house and he can do what he wants, but one day he'll walk in on me sausage in hand and that's his problem, not mine. Now that's a power move. When your teenage son suddenly wants to do his own laundry, let him. You do not need to be touching what he is trying to wash away. Also, you don't have to do his laundry, win-win situation, right? It's good to be involved, but don't be overbearing. The most stressed out and repressed guys I knew growing up were always the ones whose mothers controlled every aspect of their lives. Also, have trust and tell him you love him. I've suffered from my mum being too interested in my life. Asking a lot of questions I just couldn't care about the answer to. It's great showing an interest, but man, if I feel she's asking too many questions I just stay quiet and she gets she's being nosy. One time I didn't feel great and while trying to go and lay down she mentioned I didn't look great. Yeah right, don't feel great, have you eaten? Yeah well what about? I'm trying to go and lay down. When he's 8 years old, if he accidentally sets fire to the living room rug, go easy on him. Marty, such a nice name. Encourage them to be adventurous, to take smart risks, and how to negotiate. Was raised by a very overprotective mother. I learned none of these things till middle age. I'm a 34-year-old female, and was also raised this way. So unprepared for real life. Have a healthy relationship with your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. Having a welcoming, stable, warm home is the very basis of being a positive influence on your children. Don't just focus on teaching him the good stuff. Focus as well on being a role model for him. Edit. Whoa. This blew up quite nicely. Thank you for the support and the awards. My very first awards. This is the best piece of advice on here. Kids, follow examples, not advice. Do as I say, not as I do. Doesn't work on children. If you are arguing, and he retreats to his own room or outside, don't follow along continuing the argument. Young people have a hard time expressing themselves, and may need time to process their thoughts. Men are too often given the impression that they are only allowed specific responses, and unfortunately one of them is anger. As a teenager I couldn't get away from my parents when we argued, and I ended up feeling trapped. Teach him to cook. My post-college roommate had his mom cook all of his meals. It was embarrassing to watch him try to operate a kitchen when he decided he wanted to make something of his own. Teach him to cook, but only if you yourself do, in fact, know how to cook. Luckily for you, I'm the cook. Keep your promises, especially the small ones that are easy to let slip. And when you break or slip up on one, directly acknowledge it with them and apologize while trying to make amends. Even, especially, really, if they don't remember. Raising a child that keeps their word is 100% modeling, not lecture. You have to show them how to build those skills by demonstrating them daily, while reinforcing that with direct explanation of what you're doing or thinking in relevant contexts. Simply put, don't hold them or yourself to a standard of perfection or pure honesty. Expect accountability and integrity, even in failure or mistakes. It's just as important how we handle when we fail through our own mistakes as trying to avoid making them. Edit. To those who have shared their experiences, good or bad, thank you. You will deserve to have promises made to you kept. Be good to yourselves. Keep being amazing. This part is easy, and know you've made someone's day better. Heart. Do not take our blankets off in the morning when you try to get us to wake up. These apply to children in general. Please explain why things are being done, like why you're going to run errands, why he has to do the dishes, why he shouldn't eat all that sugar. It's very frustrating not to know. It's also important that you reward the good things he does and punish the bad through deprivation of reward. You should also praise work ethic over talent, as that's the biggest predictor of success. Edit. I don't mean a physical reward necessarily. Praise is often a good enough reward for anyone. If you call for him in the other room and he responds with yes, actually ask him to come rather than not saying anything. Online games cannot be paused. Yes, let them finish. Then you will have their full undivided attention for 60 seconds because the next round is about to start. I'll let my son finish his online game matches because it teaches him not to leave his squad/team hanging and not to abandon a group goal. Letting your son or daughter finish their game also tells them that you respect their interests. You don't consider them or their friends less important than taking out the trash or whatever. Obviously, if they've blown you off with after this game already, that's another matter, but that first time, wait for them to finish. Let him get dirty, let him fail, let him make mistakes. Know that he'll make mistakes and make him embrace the consequences of those mistakes. You can either make sure your son is always safe or make him strong. It is best for him to be strong. It is also important to note, would you rather your son be liked by you or by other people? Sometimes the two are not compatible. Knowing the difference is intellectually and emotionally hard, but important for you to do. Mother knows best has some weight as a phrase, but should never be law in your relationship with you, son. It's infuriating when trying to defend yourself or what you want while knowing the entire time you'll get dismissed entirely. Of course you should have authority over your son, but ensure you do so respectfully. Listen to what they have to say and reflect upon what is being said. Don't take those moments your son may argue with you as time to catch your breath in between berating him. That and when he may be looking for jobs, unless you live in a small town or the place of work has a sign regarding hiring. Everywhere does job applications online. Sending him around to every shop with a CV/resume will just be a waste of paper and time. A certain generation is under the impression that it'll show you're determined and may get you a call, where the reality is closer to, oh, his parents clearly told him to do this. Yeah, sorry, all our job stuff is online. Trust is key. Let him know you're there to help him. Be strict enough that he turns out well, but not so harshly resents you and/or rebels. Finding the right balance with all of the things you mentioned is exceeding difficult. I mean, I'm trying for sure, but it's not easy at all. You are raising him to be a man someday. He's not your little boy forever. How do I, as a mother to an 8-year-old boy, relay that to him? He keeps saying how he never wants to grow up and leave me. He is super clingy with hugs to the point of hurting me. When out in public he constantly wants to hang off my arm or put his head in my lap, etc. On the one hand, he is so sweet that I want to soak it all in. But on the other hand, I don't want to raise him to be a super clingy so to someone in the future. I have tried to tell him that people don't always like the smother hugs, but he isn't quite getting it. Make sure he knows girls are also people just like him, so he doesn't be all awkward around them thinking they are some higher being. Figured that out myself after elementary school and now I can talk to anyone with ease. Also, don't teach them that they have to have a BF/GF or be interested in someone. Every time I mention one of my male friends or hang out with them, my mum and sisters all do the "do you like him? Are you dating?" thing. It's the worst. You don't have to have a crush, and even if you do, it's not anyone else's business whether you do or don't, and you get to choose who knows.